All right, Coach, coming off a hard-fought weekend against Providence College, headed into two big matchups this weekend. Friday, 4 o'clock versus UMass. Saturday, UMass Lowell. Just want to get your thoughts heading into the weekend and this long slate of home games.
Yeah, well, I just think we have two opponents this weekend who we've played previously and had hard-fought weekends against both of them. Uh, so I know we have to just prepare right now for UMass, and that's kind of our focus right now. And I just think that I watched them play against Maine. I think offensively, they're a real dangerous team. O'Hara's having a great year. Mellis is a good player. Connors is a good player. I'm not sure if Suniev is going to play or not, but he's obviously definitely a difference maker in the game. And I like they're mobile on defense, and Rabel's a World Junior goaltender, so he's an elite goaltender in this league. Uh, it's going to be a great matchup for us on Friday afternoon.
All right, we'll open up for questions. Joe, you can start us off.
Thanks. Good morning, Gav. How are you?
I'm great, Joe. You?
I'm good, thanks. You talked, one of the things you mentioned after Saturday was not getting started on time. What can you do to address that, or is that more of a self-starter type of thing?
I don't think it's happened often, Joe. I think it happened against Harvard, obviously, and against Providence the other night. But it's something that we're aware of, and uh, I think it's basically on the players. We talk about it, and it's bringing that type of energy to start the game, and they know that, and I think it'll be something that will be rectified this week.
Are you surprised at how much you guys are going into the penalty box? I think it's ninth in Hockey East. It seems kind of uncharacteristic for one of your teams.
Well, I know that our penalty minutes are down from last year, so I don't know. It doesn't feel like we're taking a lot of penalties every game. I think it was, uh, last week it was just unfortunate the timing of that 5 minute major. But if you looked at the previous weeks, I don't think we're taking more than 4 or 5 penalties a game very often.
What is it that O'Hara's doing differently this year to have such a good year for them?
Well, he's a good player last year. He skates really well. He's shooting pucks. Last time I looked, I think, what do you have, 15 goals? So he's certainly someone that can find the back of the net. He skates really, really well, and he's a guy that we're going to have to keep on the outside of the rink.
Yeah, I think he leads the conference in points, which, considering all the firepower that BU and BC has, is good. Um, and as far as your goalies are concerned, I mean, they seem like they're playing really consistent. So there doesn't seem like there's any reason to switch from the alternate and plan and get them both work.
Yeah, it's something we'll discuss tomorrow, as a staff. And some of it's not just based on their performances in games, it's how they practice all week as well. So we'll factor all of that in before we make our decision.
Thank you.
Yep.
Randy, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, Cav. How you doing
Morning,
today?
Randy. I'm great. You?
I'm well. I'm well.
Good.
Um, what was the sense anything you've heard with the players about playing in front of such a big crowd on Saturday and the energy that was in the building, people paying attention to the strong season you're having? Is that something that the guys kind of felt and anything that was discussed?
Yeah, I haven't heard them talk about it. I mean, obviously, we were all excited. It was a great crowd there, the biggest crowd we've ever had. And unfortunately, they were super loud, especially when we started climbing our way back into the game. But unfortunately, we couldn't get them the W.
Odd start time on Friday. Like, does it change anything about how you prepare or timing of anything? Just the logistics of 4 o'clock game on Friday, followed by a 3:30 in Hartford, another venue on Saturday.
Yeah, it's not the most ideal thing, Randy, but in order for our fan base to try to see both games, that was the solution that the administration came up with, playing one at 4 and the basketball game at 7:30. So Uh, and again, ideally, like, yeah, I'd love to be playing here on Saturday at Toscano, but that's just the way it works here at UConn. We're going to play some games downtown, and Saturday happens to be the one we're playing downtown.
It's you. You mentioned that obviously you've been in some tough battles with both of these teams, so there's familiarity. But as the season evolves, does the opponent, and how you prepare for them and what their trends are over the previous few weeks in between when you've seen them last, change anything?
Typically teams don't change a whole lot, but power plays may make some adjustments, or, the penalty kill might go from straight lines to a push down. Like, those are different little subtleties. Maybe we'll look to see if they've changed anything that way, or they've added a different face-off play. But for the most part, the way teams play don't change a ton throughout the season.
I know the UMass is the Friday game, UMass Lowell Saturday, but as I prepare for UMass Lowell and haven't seen them, we always hear about their structure and discipline. What does that look like? Like maybe, help educate me a little bit on like what UMass Lowell does, for their patented structured systems that I could look for.
Yeah, they just play a disciplined style of hockey. They don't Very rarely you're going to see them get three guys caught low in the offensive zone. They're always going to have a third guy back. It's hard to get odd man rushes against that team. I think their special teams are always good. They do a great job protecting the front of their net. Uh, you really got to work hard and be gritty in the net front to score goals against that team. They just don't give you many freebies.
And finally, for me, and I know I'm a little bit focused on schedule and just again, preparing notes for thing trends to look for in the second game of a weekend series, whether it's against two different opponents or whether it's against the same opponent like last weekend. What is particularly challenging? Is it more, I wonder, challenging for like the defense on the back end of a quick turnaround, to have their legs more than the forwards with four lines and, heavy on the forecheck? Is it more challenging the turnaround for defenses, maybe to guard the rush, and to, win puck battles in the defensive zone against an aggressive forecheck?
No, I don't think so. Typically, the forwards work harder than the defensemen. They skate a lot more. I think if you looked in a game, they'll probably skate a lot more than the defensemen. That's why defensemen can play more minutes. Uh, so I don't really think there's a much of a difference, forwards to defensemen wise from one night to the next.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Daniel, go ahead.
This is a couple weeks old now, but Ryan Tattle got the A on his sweater. Just kind of how was that process? I can't remember. Do you normally add a captain in the second half, or why did you feel
No,
like it was appropriate to put that on his sweater?
no, no, the captains had came to me and they said that they thought that Ryan deserved to be in a leadership role. And I said, well, I'm not choosing that. I never have, and I never will. So if you guys want to hold a team vote and the team votes in favor of Ryan wearing a letter, I'm fine with that. So they did, and they came to me and said, it's, unanimous. We want him to wear a letter. So that's how that all materialized.
What have you seen from Ryan specifically in terms of leadership this season that you feel like earned it with his teammates?
I think probably playing 18 minutes at Wisconsin, throwing up in between periods was one of the things that endeared him to his teammates. Battling through that flu just to try to win that tournament. But it's just day in and day out. His commitment to getting better, his commitment to the team winning. It's never about him. He's played on a bunch of different lines this year, and it doesn't matter. Whatever line he plays on, that line seems to play well. So it's just, I think, being completely 100% committed to the team's success is what has endeared him to his teammates.
What did you see from him on the recruiting trail? Was he this skilled in juniors? Because I think to that toe drag kind of deke that he had that led to the shorthander on Friday night. I don't remember him doing that as much earlier in his career. So was he that type of player in juniors, or is he really a
He was
little?
definitely skilled in juniors, and again, he was like a COVID kid who, we saw a little bit during COVID on video, and actually Hudson Shandor's coach, who wasn't coaching Ryan but had known of him, uh, recommended him really highly as well. And he had recommended Hudson, who was an under the radar type player as well. So I really trust the guy's judgment. And we watched a little bit of him on video, and he had great skill and could skate. And, we saw his compete level. Uh, so we just took a chance on him.
By coach, is that like a personal coach or like
Yeah, it
a
was Hudson.
coach?
Yeah, Hudson Shandor's junior coach, who's been a figure in that league for a long time. And he was the one who, really pushed hard for us to take Hudson. So, and Hudson turned out to be fantastic. So I really, respect the guy's opinion.
Thanks.
Yep.
Joe, go ahead.
Thanks. Cav, a couple special team questions. On the penalty kill, what do you tell your guys about when to lug it out of the zone and when to just clear it out? Do you leave it up to them, or is there when you guys work with the special teams, do you tell them in certain situations, don't worry about trying to break out of the zone?
I think a lot of times we want a 200-foot clear. I think it happens organically sometimes if they read that we have a 2-on-1 or they have a chance for a 1-on-1 against a forward, maybe playing defense on the power play. We'll try to exploit that advantage. But a lot of times it's, we are trying to ice the puck, especially second period where it's a longer change. You don't want to get caught out there. So typically, I would say 80% of the time we're looking to just ice the puck 200 feet.
And then on the power play, to me, this was really noticeable on Saturday. But there's such good passing diagonally, like from the right to the left, and finding guys open. How much is that a change in style that you put in on the power play, and how much of it is just the player's individual skill?
It's probably a combination of both. I think, a lot of good power plays, they want to make that diagonal seam pass because that's what gets goaltenders moving. And even if the goaltender saves it, he's out of position. And if you have a guy in front, you can make a play like Ethan Gardula's goal the other day. We got it down there and he's in front and he can knock in a rebound. No, the same thing. We had a seam pass. We one-timed it and the rebound went to Richie, I think, and he knocked it in. So, whenever you can make seam passes on a power play, it certainly increases your percentage of scoring. So that's something that you're always looking to do. And the opposing team's probably looking to do the same thing. So a lot of that has to do with puck movement and changing the shape of your power play. So all things that our power play, and I'm sure every power play in the country works on.
And how did Ethan come out of the weekend? I mean, he scored and looked good. He come out okay?
Yeah, he's had a good week of practice so far. So I don't see any issues with that.
Okay. And everybody else healthy?
I believe so. As of today, yes.
Who popped you?
Oh, cold sore, Joe.
Okay.
Cold sore. That time of year.
Yes, I get it. I get it.
Randy, go ahead.
Thanks. One more follow-up from me about Tattle and particularly his line with Percival and Heaslip. Tabor and Jake have like this great knack for that poke check at center, that using their reach to force turnovers. Is Tattle a good fit because of the transition that he brings with his speed? On a line with Jake and Tabor, who have that knack for forcing turnovers in the neutral zone.
Yeah. I think Tattle's a good fit for whoever he plays with. So, and Tabor and certainly Tabor and Jake Percival have a little chemistry killing penalties. There's no question about that. But, I'm sure we'll be tinkering a little bit with lines going forward as well.
Thanks.
Dan, go ahead.
Just a random question on Caden, but he's second on the team in shots, but only 6 goals. Just how have you seen him kind of come along this season as a guy who scored a lot in the USHL,
Yeah.
adjusting to his freshman year?
I think he's adjusting. I said to him, it's going to be tough at times. I like the fact that he keeps shooting. If you look at, I think Joey Muldowney kind of went through something similar last year. He had a lot of chances to score, and I don't know how many goals he had, 4 or 5 maybe on the year, right? So, and then this year you're seeing him break out a little bit more, and I envision Caden's only going to get better and better here, and I think pucks are going to go in for him too. I just want him to keep shooting.
Awesome. Anything else for Coach, guys?
Yeah, who do
Awesome,
you
well.
like in the Super? Who do you like in the Super Bowl?
Well, if I could bet, I'd have to bet Kansas City. I don't know how you bet against them, but I think I'm rooting for the Eagles. I'm definitely rooting for the Eagles.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well,
All right,
thanks
guys.
everyone. Coach, thank
Thanks,
you. Good
Cav.
luck this
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
See you